Hello students, this is Tulika Banerjee from Forensic Science Unit, SGTB Khalsa College, University of Delhi, presenting this module on behalf of Professor Nisar Ahmed, Professor, PBGM College, Bhopal. I am delighted to present this lecture on social control, which is taught in BA second semester. Before we start our chapter with the introduction of this chapter, let us look at the other modules we will study in this chapter. First module is regarding meaning of social control. Module 2, need for social control. Module 3, the purposes of social control. And Module 4, conclusion. Students, let us now start with our first module, which will give a brief overview of today's lecture. Introduction. Society is a collectivity of groups and individuals. It exists for the welfare and advancement of the whole. The mutuality on which it depends is possible to sustain by adjustment of varied and contradictory interests. The structure pattern continues to exist because of its inbuilt mechanism and sanction system. Social control, which implies the social intercourse, is regulated in accordance with established and recognized standards, is comprehensive, omnipotent and effective to stimulate order, discipline and mutuality, and to discourage and if need to punish the deviance. Social control works always and all the time, but in view of the fact that society is subject to external impact and internal revulsions, that continuity and change is the character of social system. The enforcement of social control is not simple. Some may be dissatisfied with it and they may find satisfaction in deviance. The danger is always present, it cannot be eliminated. It is also not tolerable. The effectiveness of social control would therefore depend on the appropriate coordination of the accepted means of social control. Any society must have harmony and order. Where there is no harmony or order, the society actually does not exist, because society is a harmonious organization of human relationships. Unless the individuals live up to the prescribed norms of conduct and unless their self-seeking impulses are subjugated to the welfare of the whole, it would be quite difficult to maintain effectively the social organization. Society, in order to exist and progress, has to exercise a certain control over its members, since any marked deviation from the established ways is considered a threat to its welfare. Such control has been termed by sociologists as social control. Generally speaking, social control is nothing but control of the society over individuals. In order to maintain the organization and the order of the society, man has to be kept under some sort of control. This control is necessary in order to have desired behavior from the individual and enable him to develop social qualities. Social control is the term sociologists apply to those mechanisms by which any society maintains a normative social system. It refers to all the ways and means by which society enforces conformity to its norms. The individual internalizes social norms and these become part of his personality. In the process of socialization, the growing child learns the values of his own groups as well as of the larger society and ways of doing and thinking that are deemed to be right and proper. But every social group makes errors, great or small, in socializing the young, says Lapierre. Even at best, the internalization, be the so-called social norms, can scarcely complete that a person's own desires exactly coincide with the social expectations of the group. Hence, there are some deviations from group norms in every group. But any deviation beyond a certain degree of tolerance is met with resistance. For any marked deviation from the accepted norms is considered a threat to the welfare of the group. Hence, sanctions, the rewards or punishments are applied to control the behavior of the individual and to bring the nonconformists into line. All these efforts by the group are called social control, which is concerned with the failures in socialization. Social control, as says Lapierre, is thus a corrective for inadequate socialization. According to E. A. Ross, the individual has deep-rooted sentiments that help him to cooperate with other fellow members to work for social welfare. These sentiments are sympathy, sociability, and a sense of justice. But these sentiments by themselves are not enough to suppress the self-seeking impulses of the individual. Society has to make use of its mechanism to accomplish the necessary order and discipline. This mechanism is called as social control. As Ross defines, social control refers to the system of devices whereby society brings its members into conformity with the accepted standard of behavior. Ogburn and Nimkoff have said that social control refers to the patterns of pressure which society exerts to maintain order and established rules. As Gillen and Gillen says, social control is the system of measures, suggestions, persuasion, restraint and coercion by whatever means, including physical force, by which society brings into conformity to the approved pattern of behavior a subgroup, or by which a group molds into conformity its members. According to McClever, social control is the way in which entire social order coheres and maintains itself. How it operates as a whole, as a changing equilibrium. Mannheim defines social control as the sum of those methods by which a society tries to influence human behavior to maintain a given order. To augment an established rule is social control. Social control is a corrective for inadequate socialization. G. A. Lindbergh has defined social control as designating those social behaviors which influence individuals or groups towards conformity to established or desired norms. Kimball Young defines social control as the use of coercion, force, restraint, suggestion or persuasion of one group over another, or of a group over its members, or of persons over others, to enforce the prescribed rules of the game. These rules may be set down by the members themselves as in professional code of ethics, or they may be those laid down by a larger, more inclusive group for the regulation of other smaller groups. In fact, social control may be defined as any influence which the society exerts upon its members for the purpose of providing the welfare of the group. It is the way in which our social order coheres and maintains itself. It is that mechanism by which a community or group operates as a whole and maintains a changing equilibrium. There are various means and agencies by which individuals are induced or compelled to conform to the norms of the society. Dear students, in this module we have discussed about the meaning of social control and learned about the definitions of social control given by some of the sociologists. In the next module, we will discuss on the need for social control. Social control is necessary for an orderly social life. The society has to regulate and pattern individual behavior to maintain normative social order. Without social control, the organization of the society is about to get disturbed. If the individual is effectively socialized, he conforms to the accepted ways from force of habit as well as from his desire of being accepted and approved by other persons. If he is inadequately socialized, he has a tendency to deviate from the accepted ways, but he is forced towards conformity by the pressures of social control. According to Kimball Young, it is necessary to bring about conformity, solidarity and continuity of a particular group or society. It is possible only through social control. Society has to make use of its mechanism to accomplish the necessary order and discipline. Herbert Spencer has put forwarded the view that society is a collection of group of individuals. Man lives in society because it has a utility. Through society, he is able to preserve his identity and views. In order to preserve his identity and characteristics, he has to exercise some control for which certain rules and institutions are created. These agencies of social control are helpful for preserving the identity of the individuals and society. Various social thinkers have expressed their views in different ways about the need of social control. First is re-establishing the old social system. The main need of the social control is to keep the existing order intact. In other words, it is the desire of the society to make its member to live in manner in which their forefathers have been living. Although enforcement of the old order in a changing society may hinder social progress, yet it is necessary to maintain continuity and uniformity in society. Second is regulation of individual social behavior. Social control is necessary in order to regulate the individual behavior in accordance with the social objectives and social values. This helps to maintain the social order. Unless the individuals live up to the prescribed norms of conduct and unless their self-seeking impulses are subjugated to the welfare of the whole, it would be quite difficult to maintain social organization effectively. Hence, social control is necessary for the society in order to exist and progress. Obedience to social decisions. Society takes certain decisions. These decisions are taken in order to maintain and uphold the values of the society. Through social control, attempt is made to get the social decision obeyed. Next, to establish social unity. Unity is not possible without social control. Social control regulates the behavior of individuals in accordance with established norms, which brings uniformity of behavior and brings unity among the individuals. To bring solidarity. Social control is to create the feeling of solidarity in the minds of people. In the competitive world, the weaker group may be exploited by the stronger group, or equally powerful groups may clash among themselves. This affects the harmony and order. Some groups may develop antisocial attitudes and pose danger to the organization of the society. Therefore, there is a necessity for the different groups and institutions to bring conformity in society. Social control is intended to bring about uniformity in the behavior of the individual members of the society and to bring about different types of conformities in their societies. To provide social sanction, any marked deviation from the accepted norms is considered a threat to the welfare of the group as a whole. Hence, sanctions are used by the group to control the behavior of the individuals. To check cultural maladjustment. Society is continuously undergoing changes. The individual has to adjust his behavior according to the changes taking place in the society. But all the individuals cannot adjust themselves to new situations. Some may become deviants. Thus, social control is necessary to check the maladjustment of individual. Students, there is no doubt that social control is needed to prevent the society from disintegration. The need is greater in modern society because of its highly complex character and disintegrating forces present in it, says Kimball Young. It has become the habit of the people to violate rules and social norms. If the agencies of social control do not act effectively, society may suffer from chaos and disintegration. Dear students, in this module we have discussed the need for social control and views of some social thinkers on social control. This is the end of our module. In the next module, we will discuss about the purpose of social control. The study of social control is an important aspect of sociology. It is a significant field of study. It is a unifying factor in the study of human behavior. According to Kimball Young, the aims of social control are to bring about conformity, solidarity, and continuity of particular group or society. These aims are good, but most individuals who endeavor to control their fellow men show little perspective in their efforts. They want that others should accept the modes of conduct which they themselves prefer. This preference may be based on any factor: experience derived in life, desire to exploit others for one's own gain, political, personal, or economic. Some reformers and leaders try to conceal their motives by good reasons in the form of altruistic rationalization. A newspaper advertisement that offers discount to those who make purchases by a particular date is an example of such rationalizations. It is difficult to know and classify the motives of the agents of social control. The classification of the motives or purposes of the agents of social control are: first, exploitative, motivated by self-interest; regulative, based upon habit and the desire for behavior of the customary types; creative or constructive, based on social benefit. The results of social control are not always beneficial to society or to the individual. Even social control for constructive purposes may confuse the public and end in inactivity. Efforts to regulate behavior in accordance to custom may cause cultural lag, mental conflict, and emotional instability. Next are the types or forms of social control. Different social thinkers have categorized social control in different ways. A few classifications in regard to types and forms of social control I will be discussing here. First is regarding forms of social control as given by Karl Mannheim. Karl Mannheim, the famous social thinker, has categorized social control under two following heads. First, direct social control, and the second one is indirect social control. Let us discuss direct social control. This type of social control, which directly regulates and controls the behavior of the individual, is called as the direct social control. This type of control is to be found in family, neighborhood, playgrounds, and other types of primary groups. In these institutions, parents, neighbors, teachers, classmates, etc. keep control over the behavior of the individuals. Let us discuss the indirect social control now. In this type of social control, distant factors keep control over the behavior of the individual. Such a type of control is exercised by secondary groups through customs, traditions, rationalized behavior, etc. And public opinion are important forms of indirect social control. Forms of social control as given by Gurevich. According to Gurevich, social control is of 4 types. Organized social control. In this type of social control, the behavior of the individual is regulated either through voluntary means or through democratic ways. This is done through natural ways of social control. The second one is unorganized social control. This social control is exercised by values of culture and usages, traditions, fashion, symbol, etc. This is an elastic type of social control and is related to day-to-day life. Third type is the spontaneous social control. This type of social control is exercised by ideas, rules and regulations, values, norms, etc. The fourth type is of the more spontaneous social control. Social control that is exercised by direct social and group experience such as aspirations, decisions, desires, etc. is called more spontaneous social control. Next is forms of social control as given by Kimball Young. Well-known social thinker Kimball Young has categorized social control under 2 heads. The first one is the positive social control and the second one is the negative social control. Let us now discuss about the positive social control. Positive social control. In this type of social control, positive steps such as reward, the policy of appreciation, etc. are used for keeping the person under control. As a result of these steps, man tries to behave in the best possible manner in the society. Let's now discuss about the negative social control. This is just the reverse of the positive form of social control. In this form of social control, the individual, on the fear of punishment and derecognition by the society, is made to behave in conformity with the values of the society. Next is Hayes' classification of social control. He has classified social control under 2 heads. One on the basis of control by sanction and the second one is control by socialization and education. Let us discuss control by sanction. In this type of social control, those who act according to the values of the society are rewarded while those who act against the norms of the society are punished. Let's now discuss about the control by socialization and education. Through education and socialization, the child is taught to act according to the norms of the society. Next is forms of social control as given by Lumbe. The well-known social thinker Lumbe has classified social control under the following 2 heads. First, physical force method and the second one is human symbol method. Under the first form, man is made to behave in a particular manner by application of physical force. But in the second form, he is made to behave in conformity with the values of the society through language, traditions, customs, religion, rituals, etc. Forms of social control according to Cooley. According to Cooley, there are 2 forms of social control. One is conscious and the other one is unconscious. Through conscious form or social control, society compels an individual to act according to its accepted objectives. Law, propaganda, education are such forms. Through unconscious method, social institutions such as religion, customs, traditions, etc. keep control over the behavior of the individual. Generally, social control is classified under 2 forms. The first one is formal social control and the second one is informal social control. The first one is formal social control. This type of social control is exercised by known and deliberate agencies of social control such as law, punishment, army, constitution, etc. Man is forced to accept these forms of social control. Generally, these forms are exercised by secondary groups. Informal social control. These agencies of social control have grown according to the needs of the society. Folkways, mores, customs, social norms, etc. fall under the category of social control. Generally, primary institutions exercise this type of social control. Relationship between social control and socialization. Social control and socialization are closely related to each other. Social control is a part of socialization. During the process of socialization, the process of social control also is in operation. Through socialization, social control becomes effective. In order to maintain the social order, there are definite procedures in society. These customs and procedures become a part of man's life and man gets adjusted to the society. As a matter of fact, societies depend heavily upon effective socialization to internalize social norms and values as the individual's guides and motives to action. Through socialization, societies aim to control the behavior of its members subconsciously. The various agencies of socialization like family, state, school, club, etc. are also the agencies of social control. They exercise regulatory influence over the behavior of the individual. Dear students, in this module, we have learned about the purpose of social control along with the types and forms of social control. Here this module comes to an end. We shall conclude this episode now. Social control is an influence where influence may be exerted through public opinion, coercion, social suggestion, religion or any other method. The influence is exerted by the society, which means that group is better able to exercise influence over the individual than a single individual. This group may be the family, the church, the state or the trade union, etc. The effectiveness of the influence, however, depends on variable factors. Sometimes family may exercise more effective influence than the state or vice versa. The influence is exercised for promoting the welfare of the group as a whole. The person is influenced to act in the interest of others rather than in accordance with his own individual interest. Social control is exercised for some specific end in view. The aim is always the welfare of the whole. The individual is made conscious of others' existence, their interests. He is made to adhere to the appropriate social ways. The results of social control are not always beneficial to society or to the individual. Even social control for constructive purposes may confuse the public and end in inactivity. Efforts to regulate behavior in accordance to custom may cause cultural lag, mental conflict and emotional instability. Dear students, this brings to the end of today's chapter. I hope you all have gained valuable knowledge on social control and its need. Do keep in mind what we discussed today. Keep reviewing the modules from time to time so that you grasp the concepts well. I'll be back with one more lecture in this series. If you want to learn more and enhance your knowledge, you may log on to our website www.cec.nic.in for MCQ, quizzes, LORs, etc. Thank you for your time today. I'll see you in the next lecture. Keep learning, work hard and do revise the chapter. Goodbye.